which is enough for over 5,000 liters of soda, or about as much as your mom drinks in a day. To make
I feel called out for that one.
Heck, I even tested completely random flavors to see if they'd fill in what was lacking.
Oh damn, that's a lot of flavors.
After a certain point,
he tried Myrtle? Are you perhaps a fan of Coca-Cola? Do you like its taste? Do you like it zero or do you like it diet? Do you like it normal? Let me know. And thank you for clicking on the video, and I hope you enjoy it, YouTube.
Hey everyone, welcome back to LabCoatz. Did you know Coca-Cola is the world's most popular non-alcoholic beverage?
I didn't.
That's a little tidbit I picked up as I studied literally every aspect of this drink for almost a year at the cost of my own sanity, but I digress.
You know the worst part of this video? It makes me want to go get a cola, and I think I'm gonna do that.
Point is, Coca-Cola is kind of a big deal. Practically every human being on the planet knows what it is.
Yeah.
And yet, despite existing for almost 140 years, only a handful of people actually know what it's made of. As a matter of fact, the Coca-Cola secret formula is one of the most tightly guarded trade secrets to ever exist, with protective measures so extreme that they're almost laughable. Seriously, they have a giant steel vault that they show off on guided tours. Does that not sound like something straight out of SpongeBob?
What the heck?
And if that wasn't enough, the ingredients are all shipped unlabeled and from entirely different facilities, who are kept almost entirely in the dark about what they're making. So much effort, all for a soft drink that the company half-heartedly promotes with horribly out-of-touch AI commercials. Wouldn't it be funny if somebody managed to steal the secret formula right from under their noses?
Oh, I heard about that, man. That they made a really, really shitty AI-generated commercial. We need to watch that. Oh.
Piece together a chemically identical beverage with the exact same flavor, and then tell absolutely everyone on the internet how to make it themselves? To most sane people, this probably sounds like a fool's errand. After all, many have attempted the quest and invariably came up short. Trust me, I tried all their formulations, none of them tasted like real Coke. So, is this even possible? Well, in theory, yes. One article from 2016 theorized that the recipe could be deciphered with the help of mass spectrometry, although the author basically concluded that only a major group like Pfizer would have the time and resources to actually do so. Guess this was before science YouTubers got serious, cause I actually have 2 YouTube friends with 2 different kinds of mass spectrometers, and one even happens to be a college professor. Yeah, we're coming for you, Coca-Cola.
When someone issues a challenge like that.
Oh, but Zach, Coca-Cola uses coca leaves. You can't possibly hope to replicate it without...
Have you heard of chemicals? I'm aware that whatever I make won't be absolutely identical down to the trace contaminants. But if I add all of the major flavoring agents that are detected in real Coca-Cola, I should get something that tastes like Coke, regardless of if it came from a coca plant. And spoiler alert...
Dude.
Yeah, I can't even tell. Even though I know already, I can't even tell.
I wasn't expecting it to taste so much like Coke. Oh my god.
This approach actually works pretty freaking well. And in regards to legality, well, Coca-Cola hasn't actually patented their recipe. Seriously. Doing so would require them to expose what they're actually patenting, and that's obviously not something they want to do. Consequently, unless I try marketing my own product under the Coca-Cola name, there's really nothing they can do about it. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get cooking. Now, believe it or not, we already know over 99% of Coca-Cola's makeup, at least by weight. A liter of Coke contains roughly 110 grams of sugar, 96 milligrams of caffeine, and 0.64 grams of phosphoric acid, based on pH measurements and other scientific analysis. It also contains caramel color, which contributes important flavor compounds like furfural, in addition to the cola's rich brown hue. What we don't know is what makes up the last ingredient, natural flavors.
Natural flavors.
This is where the real battle begins. As of 2025, only one of the natural flavors can be definitively verified, decoconized coca leaf extract. The Stepan Company in New Jersey is one of the only American companies licensed to work with coca leaves. And guess who they sell the extract to once the cocaine is removed? Cola nut extract was also used at one point, but it was phased out in favor of refined caffeine. I tried finding my own source of cocaine-free coca extract, but companies like Power Leaves never returned my emails, and the package I bought from this definitely not sketchy Peruvian website got seized at the border. So basically I was at square one like every other non-Coca-Cola entity,
even get this?
which meant I had to work up the entire flavor profile from scratch.
That's another freaking crazy way in which they can actually hold their formula secret. Make it so hard that no one can get the ingredients, man. Can you imagine how much that company is paid that doesn't want to return the email to sell to anyone else?
At first, I thought this might be fairly easy. I mean, several cola recipes are already published, including the original Pemberton Coca-Cola from 1886, so I figured it'd simply be a matter of tweaking these until I got something that fit. Long story short, I was very, very wrong. As a starting point, most recipes call for the following set of flavors: orange, lemon, lime, coriander, nutmeg, cinnamon, vanilla, and neroli.
I like how we're in the essential oil department.
A few other ingredients that get suggested include black pepper, lavender, clove, and kaffir lime leaf. So I bought all these flavors as essential oils from reputable vendors. Using essential oils in food might sound a bit strange, but rest assured this is fairly standard practice in the food and beverage industry, as it allows for very precise and repeatable combination of flavors.
Interesting.
To run my early trials,
I
would
never
measure
heard of
precise
that
volumes
before.
of each oil using a micropipette, and combine them in a small vial. Once mixed, the required amount of flavor oil would be dissolved in roughly 1 milliliter of food-grade alcohol, which helps it disperse into the soda instead of clumping into droplets. This was an issue I faced when I made root beer from sassafras oil a few years ago, and the ethanol practically eliminates it without throwing off the flavor. Finally, the flavor mixture will be measured and added to a predetermined volume of soda, which was made with the established proportions of acid, caffeine, caramel color, and sugar. Pretty straightforward. Initially,
That is
I
so
attempted
many
to use something called
trials.
orthogonal array to perform my analysis. Nighthawk and Light has an excellent video explaining how these work, which I highly recommend you check out. But basically, an orthogonal or Taguchi array is a type of mathematical table that allows you to find meaningful correlations with a relatively small number of trials.
That's
In my
cool.
case, I was hoping to determine which flavors contributed the most to the flavor of cola. Unfortunately, the human mouth perceives flavor mixtures in really complicated ways, so my results were highly inconclusive.
That is honestly so true. I have had homebrewed cola. They are vastly different. So crazily different. Don't get me wrong, they're really freaking good. But they're nothing like Coca-Cola.
And often disgusting. That said, I did actually learn a lot by doing this. In terms of flavors, nutmeg, cinnamon, and coriander seem to contribute the most to the iconic cola flavor, but not without a strong citrus base composed of lemon and lime.
Interesting.
At the same time, flavors like neroli and lavender just didn't seem to work in the modern profile. They added a strong, floral note that isn't found in today's Coke, and also made it taste like artificial sweeteners were being used. And despite showing up in most recipes, orange didn't really seem to fit either, at least not in the large amounts that are usually suggested. 1 to 2% ended up being the sweet spot, and while modestly important to the flavor, higher amounts would begin to throw off the citrus notes. Of the other flavors I tested, kaffir lime leaf was by far the most out of place, since it basically tasted like citronella. Clove was similarly overbearing and noticeably different from the spices found in Coke, while black pepper and vanilla contrastingly seemed to do very little.
Honestly, I would be very surprised if cola had clove in it.
I mean, if I really boosted the vanilla, it was detectable and the perceived sweetness would go up, but black pepper mostly just seemed to accentuate the more earthy flavors already found in nutmeg. Now, while I did gather at least a rough idea of what's in Coca-Cola from these early trials, I still had no idea what the correct ratios were, or what ingredients I was missing. So to find out, I cracked out my secret weapons: scientific papers and chemical analysis. In terms of analysis, Vince from Neptunium and Ben from Mass Spec Everything agreed to analyze Coca-Cola, my ingredients, and a few similar sodas like Pepsi using their mass spectrometers. These machines essentially take a tiny sample of whatever you want, split it into chemical fractions using either a liquid or gas chromatography column, and then analyze each fraction by ionizing and firing its components through a magnetic field. Much like a prism splitting up light, the magnetic field splits up ions based on their mass, giving a sort of fingerprint that can be used to identify what chemical was ionized. That's the explanation, and this is the exact chemical makeup of Coca-Cola. Let's dissect its secrets, shall we? The dominant peak we found was something called alpha-terpineol, which mostly arises from the acid-catalyzed hydrolysis of limonene and pinene, and it hints that citrus oils do in fact make up a large portion of Coke's flavor. The next major peak is actually the remaining limonene.
He doesn't have a mass spectrometer. He has friends who have one at home. But like, yeah, pretty freaking cool and awesome and wow.
Followed by forterpiniol and fenchol. Cinnamaldehyde, saponine, and carine were also detected, indicating the presence of cinnamon and nutmeg. And finally, we found eucalyptol, borneol, furfural from the caramel color, and ethyl levolinate. Levolinic acid and its esters form when sugars like fructose are heated under acidic conditions, which suggests that Coca-Cola undergoes heating at some point during its production.
Oh.
Now, this is all well and good, but unfortunately, we couldn't pin down the exact concentration of each component using this data. You see, a mass spectrometer's output is given as a plot of relative intensity, not concentration. If you want concentration, you usually have to do a lot of math and other testing to figure out how different chemicals interact with the machine. So, instead of relying purely on the mass spectrometry data we collected, I chose to also lean on the data from this article in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry. This table in particular listed pretty much every flavor found in Coca-Cola, and even gave their measured concentrations. There were a few flavors they left out, such as fenchol, but I figured once the concentrations of other ingredients were determined, these secondary flavors would be easy to dial in with the help of mass spectrometry. I won't be going through every chemical on this list, but there are a few I'd like to point out that reveal important information about the secret formula. Obviously, cinnamaldehyde and vanillin can be directly correlated with cinnamon and vanilla, so we can check those off as part of Coke's recipe. Limonene and alpha-terpineol are also present, along with aldehydes like octanol, nonanol, and decanol, which collectively signal the strong presence of citrus oils. This is all stuff we mostly knew. Things get interesting, though, with linalool and the various forms of eugenol. Eugenol and its esters make up 80 to 90% of clove oil, which is one of the suggested ingredients that people reference from time to time. However, the concentrations found in Coke are only enough to account for the traces contributed by nutmeg and cinnamon oils, which are much more definitive ingredients. And since clove oil threw off the flavor in my early tests,
that is so little.
I think it's fairly safe to rule it out as a potential flavor. Sticking with ingredients we already discussed, linalool also rules out a few potential flavors. To explain how, though, we need to talk about enantiomers. Basically, for a molecule like linalool, two mirrored versions exist, R and S. You can flip them around all you want, but no orientation will make them identical. Interestingly, the R enantiomer of linalool makes up the majority of both lavender and neroli oils, while the S enantiomer makes up the majority of coriander oil. And, according to the study, Coca-Cola contains mostly S-linalool, with the amount of R-linalool only being enough to cover what would come from the citrus oils. Some might argue that chemicals like neral and nerol signify the presence of neroli, but this simply isn't the case. These compounds are found in citrus oils just like linalool, meaning we can pretty-definitively say neroli and lavender are not ingredients in Coke. The last chemical I'm going to bring up is acetic acid.
That's so cool.
To me, this one was kind of a shock.
This is getting really fascinating. So much deduction work on top of it, and also just the plain out refusal to do math.
Especially with it being the third most prominent flavor by mass. My first thought was that it was simply arising from the acid-catalyzed breakdown of acetate esters in the cola. But after talking with Darcy over on the Art of Drink channel, and seeing it in an actual recipe from the 1950s, I'm almost certain that's being added deliberately.
Interesting.
To be clear, the amounts being used are in the range of parts per million, but I still find it kind of funny that vinegar is probably one of the secret ingredients. With the major flavoring compounds identified and correlated with existing ingredients, I set up an Excel spreadsheet to make iterating my recipes a bit easier. A mixing calculator would basically take the volume of each oil being added, determine how much of each component was present, and then compare that data with the Coca-Cola numbers. Once everything was matching, I would take the recipe, log it in a separate tab with notes about the soda it made, and finally rank how close it was to real Coke. Unfortunately, while most of the flavor compounds could be easily connected to at least one of the essential oils, there were a few that just weren't showing up on the mass spectrum. Specifically, fenchol and forterpiniol. Originally, alpha-terpineol was also on this list, but after modifying my soda preparation to include heating, there was more than enough of it to go around. For the fenchol, I simply resorted to buying the raw chemical. But for forterpiniol, I started down a completely new rabbit hole.
Wow.
You see, the taste of Coca-Cola can be divided into a few main groups. The two we've tackled so far, and the two most people stop at, are citrus and brown spices, along with less pronounced subgroups like caramel and vanilla.
Yeah.
What most people tend to overlook are the more green, fresh flavors that seem to come from the coca leaf. Without these flavors, you tend to end up with a more spice-centered drink like Pepsi. So, for my source of terpeneal, I decided to go with an essential oil that I felt would reintroduce those missing flavors. Tea tree oil.
Tea
By
tree?
mass, this stuff is close to 50% terpeneal, and most of the other chemicals it contains match up with those found in Coca-Cola, so it doesn't really mess up the mass spectrum.
Huh.
When I began using it, I noticed an immediate improvement in the flavor, although it never fully replenished the missing freshness. Overall, it was more like drinking Diet Coke than regular Coke, and no amount of tweaking or adding essential oils seemed to change that. I spent months
So
adjusting
how
the
did
recipe,
he
testing new ingredients, and
manage to
forcing
fix
family
that?
members to taste my experiments. Eventually, my original soda stream gave out, and I had to buy a second one.
This is starting to become unreasonably expensive.
I tested cassia cinnamon versus cinnamon leaf, different versions of nutmeg and lime, heating and aging versus not, even adding trace flavors like isobutyl. Heck, I even tested completely random flavors to see if they'd fill in what was lacking.
Oh, damn. That's a
never
lot
did.
of flavors.
After a certain point,
He tried Myrtle? The one I'm covering is the Myrtle. He even tried Myrtle?
I was pretty close to throwing in the towel. Maybe people were right to say that Coca-Cola is impossible to replicate without coca leaves. And then, the answer finally hit me. Coca leaf extract is essentially a type of tea, and teas contain tannins. These tannins possess a dry, astringent taste that can help mask sweet flavors. And since
Okay.
they're non-volatile, they don't usually show up on gas-based mass spectrums, explaining how I missed them for so long. Best of all, they're sold in a purified state for winemaking, meaning I could quickly get a hold of a sample and test out my theory. And it was all worth it.
Oh, damn.
This is the mass spectrum of Coca-Cola. And this is the mass spectrum of one of my replicas.
Oh my goodness. That is pretty close. Slightly on the higher range of certain things.
They are nearly identical. And the flavor, well, what can I say? It tastes like Coke. There are tiny differences, of course, but honestly, this stuff is closer to classic Coke than Coke's own glass bottle or Diet Colas are, and infinitely closer than any other replica.
Damn.
It definitely checks out as Coca-Cola, at least to me. We'll get to other people's reactions and opinions here in a minute, and I'll even tell you how you can get some for yourself. But first, let me show you exactly how it's made. Brief spoiler,
That
the
is
startup
so
cost for this
cool.
recipe can be kinda high, unless you have a pre-existing stockpile of essential oils and accurate measuring equipment. Once you have everything though, you can easily produce a bulk flavor solution that will last for years, and allow you to create servings of Coke for mere pennies. No more paying a company that won't even pay real animators. In terms of hardware, we'll need a mass scale, an adjustable micropipette
Okay.
that can accurately dispense up to 1,000 microliters, a 50 milliliter graduated cylinder, some 1 liter storage bottles, and some kind of heat-resistant glassware for making the syrup. Resist the temptation to use metal cookware.
That's
since
actually
phosphoric
not
acid
too
can
bad
attack
in what
it
you need.
and dissolve less than healthy metals into the soda. There is a reason soda cans have that plastic liner. Finally, you can also use a magnetic stirrer for mixing, as well as a 1 liter volumetric flask to make the dilution steps a bit easier. For ingredients, we have all the essential oils seen here: sugar, carbonated water, caffeine, caramel color, food grade alcohol, 85% phosphoric acid, glycerin, wine tannins, 5% vinegar, vanilla extract, and fenchol. Quick note, fenchol
Damn.
melts just above room temperature, so you might need to warm it up in some hot water before beginning. I bought my sample on Amazon, and after testing it, I can confirm its flavor is present in Coke, so use it if you can. For caramel color, I used Shank's brand, but other varieties like Durkee should work just as well, as long as they're composed of actual caramel color and not a mix of red and green food dyes. If you don't use Shank's though, try playing with the amounts you add to get the right color. Also, keep in mind that we are working with chemicals here, including a few that are mildly hazardous. So, for your own safety, wear gloves, measure accurately, and don't taste any of the unmixed ingredients. The first step is to prepare
Yeah.
what most people call the 7X flavoring, which is the mixture of essential oils and alcohol that make up the Coca-Cola secret formula. To be clear, what
This
I'm about
is
to share is
insane.
not the Coca-Cola secret formula, since I failed to utilize decoconized coca leaf extract. Chemically though, it's about as close as you can get without it, and the real deal should be fairly similar. The recipe is 45.8 milliliters lemon, 36.5 milliliters lime, 1.2 milliliters orange, 8 milliliters tea tree,
That is so little orange. Holy shit.
4.5 milliliters cassia cinnamon, 2.7 milliliters nutmeg, 0.7 milliliters coriander, and 0.6 milliliters fenchel. And optimally, you'd let this mixture age for a day or two before continuing. Art of Drink has an excellent video explaining why, and even the original Pemberton version of Coca-Cola includes this aging step. In the end, you'll be rewarded with about 100 milliliters of flavor oil, which is enough for over 5,000 liters of soda, or about as much as your mom drinks in a day. To make
I feel called out for that one.
the 7X solution, simply dilute 20 milliliters of the flavor oil to a volume of 1 liter using food-grade alcohol. And before anyone gets worried, the amount of alcohol being added to the final soda is 5 times less than what you get from a non-alcoholic beer, and far too little to taste or make this drink intoxicating. Other flavor extracts like vanilla or almond use ethanol as a solvent. This is no different.
Yep.
Still, if alcohol is an issue, you can emulsify the oil into water with the help of gum arabic. Check out Glenn and Friends Cooking to see how he does this with his cola. Anyway, next, we'll need to make a secondary water-based solution containing the other ingredients,
is so fascinating
aside from
to
sugar
watch.
and carbonated water. Into roughly 200 milliliters of hot water, measure out 10 milliliters of 5% vinegar, 9.65 grams of caffeine, 175 grams of glycerin, 45 milliliters of 85% phosphoric acid, 8 grams of wine tannins, 10 milliliters of vanilla extract, and 320 milliliters of Shank's caramel color.
I can't believe the secret was the tannins. Out of absolutely everything, it was the tannins.
In case you're wondering, the glycerin is being added for texture and mouthfeel. Without it, the drink tends to feel a bit thinner and more like diet soda. Also, if using vanilla extract feels imprecise, you can alternatively mix up a solution containing 9.5 grams per liter of vanillin and use 1 milliliter of that. Given the fairly limited impact vanilla seems to have though, you probably wouldn't notice a major difference. Give each ingredient time to fully incorporate before adding the next, and once everything is dissolved, dilute the mixture to a final volume of 1 liter using water. Now, let's make some Coca-Cola. For this demo, I'll be making 1 liter, just so scaling up or down is a bit easier. Into a glass dish, add 104 grams of sugar, and just enough water to dissolve everything.
So much sugar, man.
I know I said 110 grams of sugar per liter of soda at the beginning of the video, but here's the deal. That's for a mixture of fructose and glucose, like you'd find in corn syrup. If we add 110 grams of sucrose, or cane sugar, the phosphoric acid will cause it to react with the water and form nearly 116 grams of those simpler sugars. That would throw off the sweetness of the drink, so we use less sugar to compensate.
Makes sense,
Anyway, next we add our flavor solutions to the syrup. 10 milliliters of the water-based solution, and 1 milliliter of the alcohol-based 7X solution. You might need a few extra drops of the 7X solution, it really depends on your taste. As soon as everything is combined, microwave or otherwise heat the mixture until nearly boiling, and cover to prevent the more volatile flavors from escaping. Heating like this helps the phosphoric acid break down compounds like limonene and citral.
I'm gonna need a sugar-free variant of this one, please.
And it also accelerates that sugar hydrolysis reaction we just talked about, so it's a fairly crucial step. Once fully cooled, dilute the syrup to a volume of 1 liter with cold carbonated water. This can either be bought or made yourself using a soda stream. Just don't attempt to carbonate the fully mixed soda on the machine. It tends to produce a lot of foam, which can lead to bacterial growth if you're not careful. And this is our finished Coca-Cola. You can drink it directly, but if you want the most accurate version of the final flavor, allow the soda to rest for a day or so in the fridge. And again, while the flavor is as close as I could get to Coke after a year of trying, and certainly closer than any other clone I've tasted, there is still room for perfection. So if you have the ingredients, feel free to experiment. And for future reference, I'll have the most up-to-date version of the recipe in the video description.
Nice.
Of course, I could go on and on about how I think my cola tastes, but what do other people think? Is this a convincing replica, or just another Pemberton knockoff? Well, I set up several blind and non-blind taste tests, and people actually had trouble telling it apart from real Coke.
This is regular Coke, see, I can't even tell. Even though I know already, I can't even tell.
9.5.
It definitely has the look of it. The taste, obviously, I haven't had it, so I can't comment to it. That being said, it's very fascinating just how close someone can come to it by analyzing analyzing from this perspective. I'm just like, whoa, that is so cool. Also, the amount you can make just from those ingredients and the little of the concentrated syrup, right? How little you have to make huge amounts of it. Could be a lifesaver for so many people when it comes to spending money if you take the time to make it. Or you have a chemist friend that likes to make stuff.
9.5 out of 10. That's pretty good.
That tastes pretty close. Like, I may not be able to tell if these are side by side with the original taste.
Mm-hmm. I know that is definitely, Coke or a Coke product. If you said it was vanilla Coke or something like that, I'd be like, yeah, maybe that's definitely Coke.
I think this.
Their reaction is like, it's a bit off, but it could be one of the various colas. God, I hate vanilla cola so much. I wonder, what makes me really curious is like, I don't know how many of you stopped drinking cola for a while and then went back to it and tasted it and it tastes like shit. I wonder if that's the case with this one as well, if it has that same shit taste. I can't explain it otherwise. It's very odd. For example, when I drink Cola Zero, if I try regular cola, the original one, I can't drink it. Like, it is just so bad. But if I stop drinking Cola Zero for a while, and I try drinking it, it also tastes bad for a while. I'm just like, what the fudge?
Is more similar to this bottle than this is to that bottle, which is crazy to think about now that I said that out loud.
Yeah, that's a Coke product. I wasn't expecting it to taste so much like Coke. Oh my gosh, hold on, I gotta go again.
I gotta go again.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, like, if you sold this on the shelves, I'd buy it.
Regular Coke drinkers were better picking mine out from the mix, but the general consensus was that Lab Cola could be mistaken for Coke, and not other colas like Pepsi. When tasted on its own, without Coca-Cola as a direct reference, people overwhelmingly thought it was the real deal.
I mean, trying to compare Pepsi to cola is like, I think anyone can tell the difference between those.
Unlike the Pemberton recipe, Open Cola, and other clones I had them try.
Yeah, that's not Coke. Oh.
No, that's not Coke. No, that's not even, like, it's a cola, but like that's not Coke. That is just straight flour.
It's very cinnamony to me. That's like almost pure cinnamon.
Like, like those little candies?
Yeah.
But it's definitely not Coke.
Alright, I think that's
You
finally
think
it.
they're the same?
2025 is
Damn.
coming to a close, and it has been an insane year for this channel. Thanks
That's
to everyone's
cool,
support,
though.
I was able to take on crazy projects like making fluorine gas at home, preparing oleum piranha solution, and putting a 360 camera probe in front of a tornado.
What?
Stay tuned for that adventure.
Okay, it's my first time seeing this channel, and I'm already like, whoa, this is a really cool freaking channel. I'm sold. What?
2026 is shaping up to be another great year for LabCoatz, although there are a few changes on the way. If all goes well, I'll be graduating in May with my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering, and moving to a new location where I'll be doing an internship and hopefully getting a full-time job. It's hard to say how many videos I'll be putting out at that time, but rest assured if there is like a little break in there, it's not going to be permanent, and I will be coming back.
Hey,
Regarding
I wish you the best of
projects,
luck
I have
with that.
several chemistry-themed ones planned out, including making taurine for my own energy drink, and finally finishing my work with super stenches by taking on tellurium. I also bought over $1,000 worth of capacitors to build a plasma gun. And for storm chasing, I got this high-speed drone to film tornadoes up close and personal. Kind of like the Otis project, but cheaper. Now I just need a license. If you'd like to help support me and my channel, feel free to donate, join my Patreon, or become a channel member.
This is so
or
freaking
pick
cool,
yourself
dude.
up a sample of the Lab Cola flavor stuff. As always, a big thanks goes out to all the existing LabCoatz Patreon supporters and channel members. Without them, I would not be able to afford projects like this. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.
Oh, this is such a cool fucking video. I like this a lot. Alright. Be honest. How many of you are tempted to try it out? I know for sure that I am, and I actually could. I don't know if I can get all the ingredients. That's my only concern about that, but I can get the the equipment. I don't drink as much cola anymore because, like, okay, so bit of a yappy end of the videos thing. So YouTube, you don't have to listen if you don't want to. I appreciate you being here and hanging out, but it's a cool story about Japan. So I went to Japan, right, and I was really, really enjoying drinking cola. And one of the things that happened when I went in Japan and I ordered a cola was I tried it out, and their cola is the original taste sugary variant. And as soon as I tried it out, I was like, I literally was like, I had the case where I bought cola and they sent me expired cola. And it tasted exactly the same. It tasted like someone just gave me expired cola from a can. So I stopped drinking cola while I was in Japan. Because guess what? Was it flat? I don't know how to describe it. It's not that it was flat. Because it had the bubbles and everything, right? It was carbonated. The taste tastes like... I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. It just tasted bad. It tasted as if you took the cola variant and then you watered it out with, like, I don't know, maybe washed laundry or something. It's like, yeah. So, because I stopped drinking cola, right? In Japan, I was mostly drinking water, so I came back home and I mostly drink flavored water. And I say flavored because the flavors are just vitamins. It's like water with vitamins, and that's kind of like the only thing that I drink. I still do drink cola, like a glass a day, maybe. But yeah, I would honestly really like being able to make my own as well. I don't think I would mind doing that. Not even regular water. No, I'm sorry. The only way I can drink regular water if it's cold, and I don't always want to drink cold stuff. Like, as a woman, we're supposed to drink more warm stuff, preferably, not always just cold stuff. That, and I don't know, I'm trying to drink more varied, going back to my roots of tea, not just cold drinks. It looked more yellow even compared to the one in Romania, the Fanta in Cyprus. Interesting. If I ever go there, I'm gonna have to try that out. Anyway, that's the extra rant about cola and flavors and stuff. To those in the US, the cola that I refer to, the original taste cola that we're referring to, is, I believe, the Mexican variant, is the one that we have here in the EU. Just as a random fact. So, yeah. I do wonder how it's gonna be when I go to the US and I try their cola. It's like, Thanks for hanging out until the very, very end of the video, YouTube. I hope you enjoy the next video as well. Bye!